This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whilst many are aware that Disneyland Paris has its own haunted mansion, few realise that the attraction is almost entirely unique from its US counterpart. It's a dark, grisly, and sometimes even gory journey into the story of a broken family that's interwoven with the overarching narrative of Frontierland. Whilst originally this story was mostly told through hints in the ride, in 2019 the Phantom Manor received an overhaul that would see it embrace this story even further, exploring a phantom seeking vengeance from beyond the grave. We invite you to join us as we step into the world of Thunder Mesa and explore a tale of love and murder as we reveal the history, story, secrets, and behind-the-scenes magic that makes this one of Disney's darkest attractions. Welcome to your virtual guided tour presented by ReviewTyme. My name is Dom, and I will be your host today as we explore Phantom Manor at Disneyland Paris. The Haunted Mansion at Disneyland in California opened its doors to guests on August 4th, 1969. Whilst it opened a few years after his death, Walt Disney had personal influences on the attraction and brought together differing ideas from Imagineers to create a unique attraction that successfully challenged the idea of the ghost train. The attraction was a unique blend of grim and quirky ideas that provided a personality that accompanied the Haunted Mansion into its success. As the Disneyland Haunted Mansion was being constructed, a similar version was being planned for the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. With this in mind, when the props and animatronics were being created, duplicates of almost everything were being made for the future ride. The Haunted Mansion at the Magic Kingdom opened in 1971 and was incredibly similar to the original iteration, with one of the biggest and most obvious changes being the Gothic Revival-style mansion facade, which blended more with Liberty Square, the land in which the ride was situated. In 1983, an additional version of the Haunted Mansion opened at Tokyo Disneyland, which took further inspiration from the Magic Kingdom iteration. It wasn't until the late 1980s, when planning was underway for the upcoming Euro Disneyland, that the Haunted Mansion concept would experience its first major change. Euro Disneyland was an entirely new endeavour pursued by a new wave of Imagineers inspired by the greats that came before them. Instead of just creating Disneyland again, executive designer of Imagineering Tony Baxter felt it was necessary to provide their own unique twist on attractions, which had become staples of the Disney lineup. With previous work designing Big Thunder Mountain at both Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom, Baxter had ambitious plans for the European version of Frontierland, being redesigned from the ground up. Baxter's version would romanticize the idea of the West, with a more cinematic and grand approach to its design instead of a faithful representation of history. Instead of just serving as a backdrop, Frontierland at Euro Disneyland would create an overarching story for the many attractions contained within its borders, centralized around Henry Ravenswood and his town of Thunder Mesa. With Big Thunder Mountain playing an integral role in this narrative, it received a more prominent position at the center of the rivers of the Far West, effectively replacing what would usually contain Tom Sawyer Island. The Haunted Mansion at Euro Disneyland would be located within this newly designed Frontierland, overlooking the town of Thunder Mesa. The facade for the attraction differed greatly from the other iterations, taking inspiration from Victorian Second Empire architectural stylings to blend more appropriately with Frontierland. It was also the first to appear derelict and abandoned, with Imagineer Mark Davis commenting on its appearance saying that Walt would never approve of it. Whilst it's true that Walt Disney wanted his parks to remain pristine, thematically, cinematically, and with language barriers, the change made sense. To elevate the attraction into a more cinematic story-focused experience, Imagineers took inspiration from novels such as Gaston Leroux's 1909 novel The Phantom of the Opera. With this cinematic approach, a darker and deeper Haunted Mansion felt far more thematically appropriate than the cheery quirks that would be inherited from the original attraction. Euro Disneyland presented new cultural challenges for the budding Imagineering team. Firstly, the Haunted Mansion name was changed to the Phantom Manor, as it appeared relatively similar in both English and French. Being within short travel distance of many countries with different languages, the importance of compelling visual storytelling to convey the narratives of the Phantom Manor was stronger than ever. Many of the original effects were given visual overhauls with representations of Melanie and the residents of the manor to help convey the story of the attraction. To help push the cinematic approach, the attraction is underscored with an original soundtrack composed by John Debney, derived from the Haunted Mansion's Grim Grinning Ghost sing-along tune. If you've got an original spooky soundtrack derived from a classic attraction sing-along tune, then you need somewhere to show off your haunting skills, and what better place than by creating a website using Squarespace. With options for portfolios and galleries, Squarespace is a great way to show off your professional work, and with hundreds of great-looking templates, you can create something that will set you apart from the crowd. We used our infinite talent to create eisnerpie.com, which is a very real thing and honestly took us like 10 minutes, which really shows that you don't need a lot of time to get your website up and running. Using Squarespace's analytics, we can see that 102 people have visited our website, which is 102 people who have truly seen the perfect embodiment of art. So grim grinning get yourself to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to haunt, go to squarespace.com/ReviewTyme to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. The backstory of Phantom Manor is integrally weaved into the in-depth narrative for the entire land of Thunder Mesa. Henry Ravenswood was a settler who found gold in Big Thunder Mountain and founded the Thunder Mesa Mining Company. Becoming extremely wealthy from his business, he built a Victorian manor for himself and his only daughter Melanie high on Boot Hill overlooking the town that his mine helped build. This mine, however, was rumoured by the natives of the area to be the home of the spirit of the Thunderbird, whose wrath could be materialised in a devastating earthquake. Melanie grew from a young girl into a beautiful young woman, and became engaged to a train engineer who planned to take her far away from Thunder Mesa, much to the dismay of Henry. He did everything he could to stop the wedding, but on their planned wedding day he was put to an eternal end when a sudden earthquake killed him. It seemed the Thunderbird had awakened. The house went quiet for many years when rumours started to circulate about what really happened that fateful day. On Melanie's wedding day, a mysterious ghostly phantom appeared in the manor, luring Melanie's potential groom to his death, hanging him from the rafters. To this day, Melanie is said to live inside the house decaying around her, having lost her mind from that fateful day, with citizens hearing her voice and the phantom's laughter drip from the manor down to the town of Thunder Mesa each night. Perched atop a hill overlooking the entirety of Thunder Mesa is Phantom Manor itself, looking derelict and decrepit. Entering the grounds, you are welcomed by a plaque reading Phantom Manor, non omnis moriar, which is Latin for I shall not die completely, giving you the first hint as to the character of the Phantom. Weaving through the elaborate overgrown gardens, you work your way towards the front door of the manor as the booming sounds of the western frontier begin to fade to the eerie echo of a music box, and a tinny radio-like depiction of the traditional Haunted Mansion theme ring through the area combined with the sound of wind and emptiness. Before entering the manor, you're treated to the impressive vista of Thunder Mesa. It should be noted as well that there is nothing behind the manor, it's just empty space. This was done on purpose as the manor is elevated, giving the sense the ride you're going to partake in has an impossible scale. Once you step inside the manor, you hear the ethereal voice of the Phantom welcoming you and telling you the legend of this cursed house and town. Originally, the narration here was set to be solely voiced by famed horror actor Vincent Price, but legal agreements with the French government required for the ride's narration to originally be only in French, which means for a long time his voice went unused. In a large 2019 overhaul, Vincent Price's incredible narration finally got to be heard, as sections of the attraction are now presented as a bilingual experience. The Phantom then invites you inside a familiar-feeling octagonal room featuring 4 portraits of a young Melanie and her previous potential suitors. As the room starts to stretch around you, Melanie slowly disappears from these portraits, and the four men's grisly fates are revealed to guess. The Phantom has ensured Melanie's suitors could not take her away from Thunder Mesa, sending these four men to their deaths in distinctly unique ways. The Phantom notes that the chamber has no windows and no doors, offering you a chilling challenge to find a way out. Of course, there's always his way. Flashes of lightning direct your attention upwards, revealing the Phantom to guests for the first time, standing high above them in the rafters, taunting them with a noose. The stretching room here, similarly to Disneyland in California, is an actual elevator designed to take you down to the level of the show building where the rest of the ride is constructed. It's why there is nothing behind the Phantom Manor. After walking down a long portrait corridor, guests board their black carriage as they see the bride is still waiting in the manor, staring out of the window, watching an ever-brewing storm. Throughout the attraction, most of the expected haunted mansion scenes are present, with their own macabre twist. Starting the attraction, as our carriage rounds the corner, we are greeted to an endless hallway. Down the hallway, though, is not just a floating candelabra, but also the Phantom and his daughter Melanie, still wearing her wedding gown, and it's the first time we see the two main characters together, a symbolic representation of the control that the Phantom exudes over Melanie. We then enter the conservatory, giving us another view into the raging storm outside. Inside is a collection of slowly decaying wreaths and memorial portraits from Melanie's deceased suitors, with a creepy rendition of the wedding march being played on the piano by the invisible Phantom. Weaving your way through the corridor of doors, you're welcomed into the seance room. Madame Leota's disembodied head summons all of the Phantom's ghostly friends and creatures to a mysterious ball. Goblins and ghoulies, creatures of fright, we summon you now to dance through the night. As we exit, we are given a clue as to why these ghouls have been summoned. Join now the spirits in nuptial doom, a ravishing bride, a vanishing groom. You are invited to observe this ghostly wedding as you emerge into the manor's grand hall. Spirits of the residents of Thunder Mesa are seen bringing in gifts, dining and dancing, while high above stands the groomless bride taunted by the mysterious Phantom. This scene thematically is incredibly similar to the Haunted Mansion, but through the creepy undertones and backstory of the attraction, it has a completely different feel, truly adding to the constant sense of unease felt by guests throughout the attraction. Similarly to the Haunted Mansion, many of these effects are achieved through Pepper's ghost. Guests are then teleported forward in time from that farewell wedding day to the present. Melanie is still alive but has since retreated to her boudoir. A dying fire crackles quietly as a now elderly Melanie has given up hope and the search for her long-lost groom, weeping away at a giant mirror. Even today, though, the ghostly spirit of the Phantom still haunts her, appearing in the mirror in a scene very reminiscent of the Phantom of the Opera, on which this attraction is loosely based. Exiting Melanie's boudoir and the manor itself, we are now face to face with the very Phantom that has been taunting Melanie. He has dug an open grave, which it appears, perhaps, it's intended for you, as a callback to the only way out being his way. Passing by a zombified dog, you slowly make your way into the catacombs, surrounded by skeletal ex-citizens of Thunder Mesa. As you descend, the singing bus come into view, singing a jazzier, grim-grinning ghost, surrounded by dancing dead skeletons. Guests are then transported into Phantom Canyon, a ghoulified version of Thunder Mesa. Rifts surround the vehicle, suggesting that an earthquake has taken place, perhaps the same summoned by the Thunderbird which took the lives of the Ravenswood elders. Guests pass by a ruined town hall with the mayor of Phantom Canyon, who warns the travelers of hitchhiking ghosts, and invites them to become the Manor's 1000th guest. The voice snippets used for this animatronic are from Paul Frees, the original ghost host from the Haunted Mansion, and the face is the same mold used for the Dreamfinder in Epcot's Journey into Imagination with Figment, which Tony Baxter worked on. Guests are then greeted to the many citizens of the canyon, including a cowboy shootout and a saloon. Much of this area is inspired by a scene featuring in the cancelled attraction called Western River Expedition. This ride was going to feature at the Magic Kingdom in place of Pirates of the Caribbean, but was cancelled at the last minute due to guests complaining that there were no pirates at Walt Disney World. In true Imagineering fashion, many aspects of Western River Expedition were then recycled for other experiences. The Phantom is seen one final time, gesturing guests into a coffin as they slip away into the Manor's crypt containing the remains of Melanie's deceased suitors. The ride concludes with the famous hitchhiking ghost mirror scene, but when guests look into their carriage, they can see Melanie joining them, begging for them to wed her. Guests exit the attraction through the Manor's wine cellar to the sound of the Phantom's laughter and Melanie's voice telling them to hurry back. Once they've left the Manor, they enter into Boot Hill, a cemetery containing gravestones for the Ravenswoods and many others. Melanie's tomb can be found on Boot Hill with the sound of her heart beating, echoing through the concrete. And if one turns around towards the mansion from the cemetery, they can often catch a glimpse of the Phantom looking over them from the Manor, before he quickly closes the curtains, escaping from sight. Phantom Manor is the epitome of what Disney was trying to do with Disneyland Paris. Take the Disney park formula and +1 everything about it. This mansion is reminiscent of the very first plans for a haunted walkthrough for Disneyland, where a ghostly sea captain and his bride would become welcome guests into their haunted abode. Some nights, when the moon is full and the sky is clear of clouds, one can still hear the lonely mourning of the bride, the maniacal laughter of the Phantom, and the faint tinkle of glass and the laughter of party guests. Whether she is alive or not, what is well known is that poor Melanie will never really leave that crumbling mansion. She waits for her groom until Judgment Day. For the home of all things theme parks, I'm Dom from ReviewTyme. Thanks for watching.